How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm Jenny. Very nice to meet you, by the way.
Hi, Jenny. Nice to meet you.
Where are you? You're looking somewhere fabulous.
Oh, I'm in this house that I'm renting here in London.
How's life in London for you?
It's good. It's good. The sun is out now finally today, so that's nice.
What an exciting time. You know, the whole of this year has been crazy for everyone. There's nothing much going on. Everyone's been in lockdown. And then basically Queen go and release this incredible album and it does
Yeah.
very, very well. How exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm thrilled. I think we had audio and visual that we've been recording almost every show for the past 7 years, and we've never found a spot for it. So we were talking after postponing our tour and thought, well, this would be the time to dust off those files and put together an album. And I'm so glad that fans are loving it. It's a great retrospective of the last 7 years.
Yeah, I honestly can't believe 7 years. It's been 7 years.
It's such an honor too. It just it's the gift that keeps on giving. I didn't ever expect it to go on and on and on. And it's still a thrill getting on stage with Brian and Roger and seeing the smiling faces and singing voices of everybody in the audience. It's great.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you're getting to perform all these iconic songs, and this album is full of all of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we have pretty much all the big hits, and then we have a couple more songs on there as well that might not be as well known, but that we are very proud of. Songs that were released actually under Freddie's solo catalog. So that's I Was Born to Love You and Love Kills, which we've sort of adapted from the original sort of electronic arrangements that he had to more of the arena rock sound that the rest of the songs live in.
Oh no, it's so exciting and I love it because also, everyone was looking forward to the tour this year. I spoke to Brian this way at the start of lockdown actually.
Mm-hmm.
And he was currently he was finding it hard during lockdown when I spoke to him. And it was also really disappointing that the tour had to be put back. But you are at the moment, it is going ahead next year, isn't it?
As long as everything gets back to normal with the large gatherings, the plan is, to just have everything sort of stay as it was supposed to be this last summer for next summer.
Yeah. And how is Brian doing? Because when I spoke to him, he was just saying he was finding it hard during lockdown. And then, of course, we heard very sadly about him having a heart attack. Is he good? Is he fine? Is he mended?
Yeah, luckily I saw him last week, which was great after, taking a test and staying isolated for a minute. And him and Roger and I got together to sort of kick off this promotion for this album. And it was really nice to see them both. And Brian is doing a lot better, which is great. He's just had to be on some certain medications and sort of on a recovery program, but he seems like he's nearly back to his fighting form.
And how has lockdown been for you as well?
Well, it's been, it's strange, like for anybody. I consider myself very fortunate that, I'm able to keep things together. And, I'm not in the situation that some people are in where they've lost their jobs. So my heart goes out to anybody out there that's really struggling. I know it's a lot of people that have been hit really hard by this thing. As far as my day-to-day life goes, the first couple of weeks were weird and I was sort of in shock. I had put out a solo album of mine at the beginning of March called Velvet. And, a week or two later, everything was canceled. So I had to sort of mourn the loss of that project. But obviously in light of everyone's health and safety, that was not high on the priority list. And immediately sort of shifted focus and started trying to get involved in different charity drives and outreach things to help with the pandemic.
Yeah. Do you find that you end up, as a musician, you end up doing loads of different things online, doing like Zooms performances and whatnot? Is that what happens as a musician?
Yeah. I mean, it's been really interesting. I think we're kind of all seeing how technology can really help us. It's an amazing tool. There's a lot of things that we've all been doing, via technology that we didn't really think about doing this way before. So, it's you can't compare it to the real thing. I mean, the real, real live performance is always going to be more exciting and more connected than something over a phone screen. But you know what? I think people need support right now. They need entertainment. They need escape. They need distraction. And they need some like empathy, I think the arts can do all of that for everybody. And so, I think that the creative communities have been hit really hard because a lot of us can't do, what we usually do, but we just keep trying to give what we can give.
Yeah. So was this album, was it a kind of knee-jerk reaction to lockdown, or was it always going to happen?
No, this was a plan that was hatched after we postponed the tour, as sort of a way to say thank you to all the fans for all your support, and a way to hold everybody over who had tickets, who still have tickets. And yeah, and it's also like this great kind of retrospective of the last 7 years, which we hadn't really put together. This is the first time we've put together anything on record together as a duo. So it's very exciting.
I mean, there are so many iconic performances that you've done as well. Is there, and I know you must get asked this all the time, but I need to ask as well, is there one track on that album that for you stands out, even from the performance or from the song itself?
I think the Who Wants to Live Forever is a really special moment. Then it was filmed at the Isle of Wight Festival, and the night before that was the tragic Pulse nightclub shooting, which it was just terrible. And I woke up that morning to the news and just feeling really awful about it, and knowing that could have been me or any one of my friends. So I dedicate, sort of in the spur of the moment when we got to that song, I dedicated the meaning of the song to those people that lost their lives. So it took on this very poignant sort of energy in that moment, and it was one of those nights where the song just sort of captured that feeling. It was powerful, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are so many powerful songs in there. And if you have a message behind it, it becomes even more so. When you are performing all these incredible songs, do you ever find is there any song that you can perform that the crowd don't sing along to?
I don't think so. I mean, there's very few. I think the first time we included Love Kills on the set list, there weren't a ton of people singing along because it's not quite as well known, but they were very moved. That's another song that has sort of a kind of weight to it when you really dig into it. I think there's a handful of songs that I think about Freddie during. Freddie's such a irreplaceable figure, and so we celebrate him every night on stage. We acknowledge that. We know, especially me, to the audience, like there's no way I can compare to this rock god. So I think with Love Kills in particular, that was a song that the lyric is interesting. It has, a meaning. Freddie lost his life because of the AIDS virus. And, there's a song like The Show Must Go On as well as a song that sort of captures that feeling of, life may hand you some curveballs and you might be suffering. You might be sort of ready to pass on to the next world, but you got to keep your chin up and push through.
Can I ask you now? I've got to ask, because there's always been talk about new original material for Queen. Is this something that's going to happen?
There's only talk about that from journalists, it seems.
No, but whenever you end up speaking to someone, you're like, okay, let's do some research. And then everything I read, you're probably right, it's journalists going on about it.
Yeah, that's like the favorite
everyone
question.
Wants it.
Yeah.
People want it.
I think it's one of those things where, it's a never say never type thing, but it hasn't really come up in actuality with us. But who knows?
We'll see. Okay, so next year we've got the tour. That's exciting. The album, which is doing phenomenally well, is out now.
You.
And what are your plans? I mean, are you going to be doing more solo stuff as well?
I hope to, yeah. I've been doing a little songwriting. I started a few months back from my house via Zoom. Zoom songwriting is not quite the same as the real thing, but you can get some great ideas down. I taught myself how to use a bunch of new technology in order to do it and be able to record my voice at home, which is really exciting. And I'm actually here in London. I'm working on a musical.
Oh, wow.
I'm writing it with some other writers who have some great success. And it's still early days, so it's too early to kind of give too much away about it. But a lot of the themes in it are themes that are really near and dear to my heart. And I think people are going to feel it. I hope so.
Yeah. I hope that to be able to do that.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to take the time to be creative right now. Obviously I can't get out there on stage, but I can, come up with some new ideas.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think now everyone's thinking outside the box and doing something a little bit different and unique.
Yeah.
And it's important to do that as well right now.
I think, for anybody that's, maybe not able to go out every day to work, their usual routine, I think that the one of the best things to sort of try to stay positive is find a project, even if it's just something small around the house or try something artistic or whatever. Doing something that keeps your mind busy, that gives you a sense of accomplishment, I think is really important.
Yeah. If we were to look back at 2020, because it's a year that everyone will remember, but not necessarily for the right reasons. If you were to draw positives out of this year, Adam, what would you remember?
Obviously, I think the negatives are probably going to be the thing that sticks the most. But if I'm going to pull positives out of it, I think that it's created certain challenges that we've sort of overcome. Certain challenges, there's still going to be issues, but we're all problem solvers. I think people have to live and to try to make the most out of things, and I can see people doing that. Life goes on, and I think this is definitely a struggle, but I think that we may come out of it stronger.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, look, it's been so lovely to chat to you today. Thank you so much. Huge congratulations on the album. It's #1 in iTunes chart already, and it's
Thank you.
going to do so well. I mean, I'm desperate to listen to it as well, so I'm going to be doing